Look, this trooper's trying to decide which car he's going to take, but because this white one kept going, he took her. Wow. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to 12 Reacts. Hey, we're going to talk about meetups. Hey, here at 12 Reacts, we're going to talk about everything that's got to do with police chases, things that have to do with muscle cars, meetups. We're going to discuss all of that. So thank you for joining me. Looks like there's a big issue going on right now with these meetups taking place, y'all. First, let's watch a video having to do with the meetup, and we'll come back and start talking. All right. So I want to give a big shout out to Scooper, as always, has great videos down in Tampa, Florida. We're ready to watch a car meetup. Let's watch what happens. Guys think that they're just out having fun, and they're causing some disruptions around the country. I'm going to give you some names of some states that are having to deal with this and what they're doing with it right now. Look, this trooper's trying to decide which car he's going to take, but because this white one kept going, he took her. Wow.
Put your fucking hands up. Put your fucking hands up.
Wow.
Get on the ground now. Get on the ground. On the ground.
Okay. Delta Sierra Romeo 27.
So this is what they do. When the police show up, they all start bailing out from the parking lot. And the thought behind it is we're all going to leave at the same time and they can't catch all of us. Well, somebody's about to get caught. Doesn't matter how you want to look at it. Somebody's going to get nabbed out of that group of cars. So I guess you think your chances are good, but I'm telling you, it's better to just stay there and wait it out.
On fire over at the Wawa. I got Tuesday. We're going to start rescue. They telephone.
Wow, young lady. Wow.
1689. We got the Charger stopped in the Wawa parking lot. We got a lot of foot traffic over here. Get us to 94. Get HCSO 51, 1018 also.
Beautiful young lady just ruined a part of her life right now.
It's not working. Where are you?
Okay, so as you can see, she's under arrest now. She was hanging out in a parking lot where they had this organized takeover. So all these kids are coming and gathering at these places, and the the thing about it is they're doing burnouts, they're doing donuts, they're doing all these things that are actually illegal, and they're taking over these parking lots. You know, a lot of cities are having a problem with them coming and taking over intersections. You know, I don't know if you all ever saw any of those videos where they were burning tires in the middle of the intersection and they were doing donuts and everything around it. I mean, this is becoming a common problem that is happening in lots of states. So let me give you all some ideas on some states where this is actually taking place. Okay, this is not only happening in Florida. This is happening in California. It's happening in Texas. These places are invoking laws now in reference to these meetups. Ohio, Connecticut, Indiana, the list goes on. You remember, if any of you all were my age, you remember the thing to do was to cruise the block. You know, it was to cruise the malls. Those were the things that we did when we were young. Now, today, they've like elevated this whole issue that's going on with this street takeover. And it's called a street takeover because they are taking over the streets. They're blocking the intersections where people cannot get through. So, you know, lots of things are happening. I mean, I actually saw one where they were in a parking lot doing donuts and the police showed up and like all these Dodge Chargers, Dodge Challengers. I mean, these kind of cars, I mean, they were hitting it and the police were taking off after them. Of course, a lot of them, you know, just could not be caught by the police because their cars couldn't keep up with these vehicles. But these are the things that are happening today. Kids are no longer cruising the mall and playing their music, you know, and having fun, or going to a location, to a park and just hanging out and cruising the park. You know, those are things that we used to do. We didn't cause trouble. We just, you know, found things to do. Now, you would expect things like that to take place in a small town in which, like I live in Kentucky, okay? You would think that because, you know, there's nothing literally for some of these children, some of these kids, I call them kids, to do because there's not a lot here. But you take places like Florida, St. Lucie, Tampa, Miami, there's all kinds of things for people to do. There's like literally no excuse to take over a road. You know, it's hard for me to understand how they can do that. They can take over a whole road, and then you got the Florida State Police. They're having to set up details to come and bust these groups, and they can't catch them all because why? There's so many of them. So many things are taking place. But let's look at an article that is talking about these meetups and what they're getting ready to start doing now. Your license, how about your car? Let's look at a couple of these videos that I have, not a video, but an article that we're going to check out. And we're going to look and see exactly what is going on now. Okay, so from this is the Sun, the U.S. edition. Car gone. New July 8th law puts drivers at risk of license suspension and losing car completely as officials crack down on hobby. So, you know, people are calling this like a hobby. You know, it's really not a hobby. It's actually quite dangerous. If you've seen any of them, like people have been like getting hit. People have been getting run over. Cars have been losing control and smacking up against people. I mean, it's like gone crazy. So drivers have been warned after lawmakers increase penalties against dangerous hobby driving. Florida motorists face potential driver's license suspension, vehicle impounds if they are found breaking the new road law. So if you live down that way, hey, go check out those road laws. Those road laws, you know, apparently are pretty important. Let's go back over to our main screen, and I'm gonna give you just a summation of some of these. All right. So let's look at some of the issues that you can possibly come across now. All right. It says Florida charges for coordinated street takeovers. So participating in a street takeover involving 10 or more vehicles defined as a coordinated street takeover is now classified as a felony. No longer is it a misdemeanor or a violation anymore. Now, if you're caught at one of these things, you are participating now in a felony. All right. Offenders face fines ranging from $2,500 to $4,000. You know, parents, if you're watching this, know where your kids are on the weekends. Know where they are in your car. Dads, hey, I know some of you got the red eye. I know some of you got the ZL1. I know you do. It's cool. I'm not saying that's a bad idea at all, but be responsible. These cars for young teenagers it's not responsible for them to have vehicles like these. Why? Because I wasn't responsible as a teenager at 18 years old. I wasn't responsible at 19, even 20 years old to have a high power vehicle like these. Man, come on. Think about this. So, all right. So let's look at some more things that'll happen. Parents, if you let your kids go out to these things and you're not keeping up with them, look at what some of them are going to face. And for those of you who are watching this, who do go to these kind of meetups and things like this, watch what's going to take place. Penalties, okay, for spectators. Now you can get in trouble for just watching. Spectators attending these events can be charged with non-criminal traffic infractions and fined $400. So you just going and watching this race, is it worth $400 to you? That's why everybody's trying to scat now. And what's happening is when people are scatting, you think your odds are pretty low of them getting behind you, and then they wind up getting behind you, and some of you aren't stopping, which really doesn't make any sense. You're ruining your life over watching other people make mistakes. Okay? People are dying at these events. You know, they're setting tires on fire in the middle of intersections. Who wants to be a part of that? Parents, know where your children are when they're driving your cars. And even if they're not, if they're living home with you, know where they are. Know where they're going at these big hangout takeovers. It's caused nothing but trouble for them. All right, here goes another one. Vehicle impoundment. Parents, hey, if you don't want your vehicle to be impounded, if you trust little Johnny enough to go take your red eye out to one of these meetups, just know little Johnny is not just sitting there on top of your car watching the cars go by. No, little Johnny probably is more than likely participating in burnouts, doing donuts, all of these things. This is what goes on during these events, y'all. Drag racing, all of it. So cities are now getting tired of it. States are now getting tired of it, and they're starting to make felonies out of these events. So, you know, you really have to pay attention to what you're doing, you know, when you allow your children to take your high-powered cars out. And I have to even say this. When we buy our children, which I'll never buy my child a high-powered car, and they're not even responsible enough to take their trash out. They're not responsible enough to keep their room clean. They're sure not going to be responsible enough to drive a vehicle with 800 horsepower, 750 horsepower. They're not going to be responsible enough to handle that car in a good way at all. But when they get connected with other people who have those types of cars, and they get out there on the highway and get to racing, they're starting to crack down on those more. That's why you're starting to see all these state police agencies. They're now buying up the 5-liter Mustangs. They're buying them up now. Why? Because they can't get the big V8s anymore to keep up. So these are things that are coming down the pike for you guys. Watch the things that your children are hanging around. I'm not trying to tell you what to do as a parent. I am a parent. I have 6 children, ranging from adult to young. So I watch, but I take care and I watch what they're doing, and I'm making sure that they are not being involved in any kind of groups like those. But anyway, this is what's taking place going on. These takeovers now. Protect your children, keep them from them. And for those of you young folk who are watching this, hey, find other things to do besides these meetups that with these high power cars will do nothing but get you in trouble. Somebody at some point is going to complain. And for those of you who like to go out and watch these different things, you're now going to be charged just for being a spectator. All right. Hey, my name is Ed Logan. Glad you could join me. I hope you learned a little bit about these new wild street takeovers that taking place. They're going to be coming to a city near you, apparently. But these states are bringing some laws for it. All right. They bring in the heat. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.